Now, many of you know that rocks are the bane of my existence, and for those of you that didn't know, well, now you do. Rocks are always in the wrong spot, you always have too many of them, and it's really hard to pound a fence post through them. Now, I decided that instead of continuing to fight rocks, I'm going to try to find something useful to do with them. Now, during one of my recent trips out into civilization, I went to see a band that I haven't seen in a really long time, Guar, but that really doesn't have anything to do with this story. So anyways, during my trip out into civilization, I found myself a tile saw on a dumpster. Yeah, somebody was throwing out a tile saw. It's not a very good one. And I figured, you know what people like about rocks? Is when they're shiny. So maybe if I can cut some rocks open and make them shiny, maybe I won't think they suck quite so bad. So follow me down this rabbit hole. Let's figure out how to cut rocks with a tile saw that I found on the dumpster, maybe shine them up, and see if we can make something useful out of them. So stick around, see what type of hillbilly voodoo we're up to today. And if you're wondering about all my other projects, well, yeah, they're still going on too, but nobody seems to be commenting on them very much, so I don't really know which ones you like. So maybe make some comments on those ones too. Now let's go set up this rock saw or this tile saw and see if we can make some rocks not suck. I got a whole pile of smaller rocks here from my screen when I'm screening out dirt and stuff. These smaller rocks I usually just use for drainage and putting places where there's lots of mud, but what I know about rocks, they're gray, they're ugly, and they break equipment. That's about all I know about rocks, but apparently inside of these rocks there might be some shiny stuff or nice looking things, or when you polish them they might not be, yeah, they might not suck as bad. So let's grab a few out of this pile here. Like I say, I don't know nothing about them, and I don't know what's inside of them, and I don't even know if they're worth cutting open, but I'm going to grab a handful here. Yeah. How do you tell whether a rock is pretty? By looking at the outside of it. All kinds of weird colors in this one, but I don't know if the colors would be on the inside of it or not. Well, I guess that's part of this whole experiment is, yeah, cutting them up and seeing what's inside and seeing if they don't suck, right? So let's grab that one and that one. Yeah, where do you start? They all look the friggin' same. Grab that one too. I'm just gonna cut some small ones. That one's pretty big. I don't know. Are you supposed to break them up first before you cut them? I don't know. We'll see if we can jam that one in the saw. It's not a very big tile saw. It's just a little, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's take these down to the shop and see what we can do with that rock saw. Or sorry, that tile saw. Now, I totally went to YouTube University last night, and these tile saws apparently work fairly good for cutting rocks. I don't even know if this one works yet. So, but they're really messy apparently, and I don't want to have the ick all over in my shop. So we're going to set it up out here on a stump. Somebody obviously wrapped the cord back up, and so hopefully it works. That goes roundy round. Now, it didn't have the water reservoir, so I'm going to have to make something to put water in. You see there's a line here that says full, so the reservoir's got to go somewhere underneath that. And yeah, you know what I'm saying. Apparently tile saws need water. I've used tile saws before, but they've all been dry, and for what I understand from YouTube University is you don't want to cut rocks and have dust going everywhere, because dust is dangerous and will get in your orifices that you don't want it in. So let's get a think maybe an old plastic oil jug or antifreeze jug or something, and cut it open and stick it underneath here and fill it up full of water. I went and cut open an old oil container and filled that up with water, and it looks like it's up to the line there. And judging by all the ick that's all over this saw already, it, like I say, sprays and makes a hell of a mess. So I'm going to try to set you guys up in a way that you can see me while I'm cutting these rocks, but my camera's not getting all covered in ick. And I got my earmuffs there, and yeah, let's give this a whirl and see what happens. Maybe we'll become billionaires. Yeah, right. Money is the least of my concerns. The more you have, the more you need. The more you need, the less you have, right? Okay, shut up now. Let's see if we can cut up a rock. So I sat down here to cut up my rock, and I noticed that this saw came from the Restore at one time, 25 bucks. So I can pretty much guarantee somebody went to the Restore, bought this saw, did their tile project in their bathroom or whatever the hell they were doing, and then just decided to throw it out. Are they too lazy to go back to the Restore? Hey, dumbass, you got it from there. Take it back so somebody else can use it. Well, I guess I got it now, and I got it for free. So there, haha, too bad for you. Now let's get to cutting these rocks and see what we can do with them. Well, we're back here inside the shop, and this is what I managed to get out of those really ugly rocks. It's kind of got some neat colors and stuff in there. That was that reddish big one. It's kind of funny how the outside's red and the inside's kind of a, I don't know, weird color. And we got that smaller grayish rock. Kind of got some neat things in there. Oops. There's that chunk of, I think it's just granite. Have a lot of that falling off of our mountain. I kind of rounded it into a little thingy here, and I'm going to try to poke a hole through there and make a pendant. Some of you know that I make jewelry, some of you don't. Well, now you all know that I make jewelry, so see, I've been purchasing those cabochon things for years, and yeah, guess I could have been making them out of some of this weird rock that I have in the yard. This one's kind of neat. It's got some pinks and I don't know. Kind of almost looks like a piece of meatloaf. Huh, yeah. And what about this one? This one's kind of neat. I think I'm going to cut some pendants. Try to poke a hole through that stuff with the Dremel and polish it up. Now I don't have anything to polish this with other than Dremel or a grinder, or maybe just some sandpaper, wet dry sandpaper on a piece of glass. Apparently that works. So yeah, Well, let's try to poke a hole through these things anyways and see what we can do with them. I cut myself a couple little pendant looking things here out of those rocks. Just cut them on that tile saw. That's what it looked like before. That's what it looks like now. Managed to poke a hole through it with the Dremel. Now I just have some really crappy diamond bits that I was using for trying to drill a hole through glass at one time, and it didn't work, but it seemed to have worked on these. So yeah, kind of look like little pendants, don't they? I don't know. I've seen some hippies wear some uglier crap around their neck than that, but let's see if we can figure out how to polish these up so that they're actually shiny and not kind of dull. That sounds like a good idea. Like the saw leaves marks in them, but if you wet those, apparently you're not supposed to lick rocks, but this has already been ground and stuff, so I'm going to lick it anyways. Yeah, see? Ooh, I didn't lick it. I slobbered all over it. Anyways. Don't lick rocks. Don't lick windows either. Yeah, let's grab some wet, dry sandpaper and see if we can buff that up a little bit. I got some little buffing wheels in my Dremel crap here. Maybe we'll try those too, and let's sand it first. YouTube University says that if you sand it down to about 1200 grit and then buff it, it should look better. But you know, you're watching YouTube right now. Can you believe what you're watching? I don't know. Maybe you can. So anyways, blah blah blah, yap. Who cares? Just polish the damn rock already and show people what it looks like. Yeah, rocks out of my yard. Who would have thought I'd be chopping up friggin' rocks? It's kind of funny the rabbit hole you go down, eh? Go to a concert, go out into public where you haven't been in a really long time, and somehow you end up cutting up rocks in your driveway. Weird, eh? Okay, let's polish this thing up and see what happens. As I'm sitting here, I'm looking over. I have this really small wood lathe sitting right there that I don't use anymore. I've had it for many years. And I have a big lathe right there. So I don't really use that little lathe for anything anymore. I'm thinking maybe that I could turn that into one of those flat lap machines or faceting machines, because you got the little spinny thing there, and that piece there would unbolt. You'd have your little spinny thing. If you put like a feed dish or a bucket or something around that, then it wouldn't splash out on you, and you could turn it on its side, right? Like flip it up like that. You guys want to see me make a flat lap out of a wood lathe? Make a comment in the comment section. And that being said, if you want to see me do it, because I'm going to do it anyways, but if you guys want to see me do it, then make a comment. Let me know. Maybe you don't want to see me do it. I guess if you didn't want to see me do it, then you don't have to watch it, right? But yeah, I'm going to do it anyways. not going to do it right now. I'm going to polish a rock with some sandpaper. Wow, does that ever sound like a dumb friggin' idea? Polishing rocks with sandpaper. Anyways, who cares? Let's do it. Well, I managed to find myself a few pieces of wet, dry sandpaper here. And I didn't find a piece of glass, but my table here is fairly flat. So let's sweep some of the pack rat shit off the table here and see what happens when we rub our rock on some sandpaper. No, I said rub your rock on sandpaper, you sickos. This is what, 320? I don't know if this is going to take the scratches out that was left by the saw or not, or yeah, what's going to happen here, but let's try it out. Well, it must be doing something because the water is starting to turn a milky color like it's got dust in it. And yeah, it's definitely taking the scratches out of it. So I'll work these rocks. I think I have up to 2,000 grit here. Yeah, there's a piece of 2,000 grit there. So I'll work these rocks up to that grit and see what they look like. And see if we made rocks that don't suck. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to watch me sitting here scrubbing a rock. So I'll bring you back when I get them all. Yeah, when I get them all polished up. Well, I don't know, guys. Those don't look too bad to me. They're not like, holy crap, I want it really, really bad kind of shiny rocks. But hey, those ones there with the holes poked in them, I could throw a lace through them or a chunk of rawhide, and I can guarantee that somebody at the craft shows would buy that. So those are probably $15. And it won't take nothing to poke holes through these. This one turned out really neat. I don't know if the light... It's got all kinds of weird colors, and you can't really see the colors on the camera, but you can see them in real life. You can see all the whites and yeah, blah blah blah. Look at the rocks, they're shiny. So I think I figured out something to do with the rocks in my yard. And like I said there, that's just a handful. I could poke around in those piles and probably find all kinds of weird stuff. That one didn't shine up very well, but still kind of neat looking. Oh, that's the shinier side. Oh. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Ground obtainium. Things I found on the ground in my yard. Well, I think that maybe I'm going to go start and build myself a rock sander flat lap thingy. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you make a comment. And until next time, guys, use what you got, even if they're really annoying rocks in your driveway, to make what you want. Hopefully some jewelry that somebody might buy one day. And I'll see you guys later.